Young drunk.
Like drunk. Welcome to the Micheaux Mission. 2 men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I'm joined as always by my partner.
Hey, what's up? Holla at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble.
And as we continue on the road to 400, we will spend time this evening with a bona fide American classic, the 1972 adaptation of William Armstrong's YA novel, Sounder, directed by Martin Ritt and starring Cicely Tyson and Paul Winfield, and introducing Kevin Hooks. Mm-hmm. But before we talk about Sounder, Lynn, how are you this evening?
I am going out of my mind right now.
Lynn, we are professionals.
I'm trying to be professional. Vincent, you can't bring this up 2 minutes before the show.
I 100% can, because that's the way this works. Now you're going to put it on the off-air cork board, and we'll talk about it when we're off the air.
Okay. I will try and do better.
Yes.
I'm doing great, Vincent. Shout out to each and every one of you out there who are watching us as we stream live from Yunk Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace, located right here in Manayunk. And we're streaming to you on Facebook. We're streaming to you on Twitter. And we're streaming to all of you right there on YouTube Live. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
All right. Make sure that while you're watching us, ladies and gentlemen, please tell a friend about the show. Tell them that we're on YouTube. Subscribe, like the video, hit that bell so you can be notified when we have new videos going up.
Hit the bell.
That helps people, find the show. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. We've got a packed show tonight, so we're going to jump right into it with a quick shout out to the well-deserving winners at the most recent 2024 Academy Awards. Cord Jefferson won for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Yes, sir.
For American Fiction.
Yes, absolutely.
A film that we absolutely adored.
Absolutely adored.
And Divine Joy Randolph won for Best Supporting Actress.
Yes.
In The Holdovers.
Yes. And while she was excellent in The Holdovers, we have been fans of her since My Name is Dolomite.
Amen.
So,
amen.
Yes, congratulations.
Much congratulations to both of them for winning. And you know what? I'm going to send out another congratulations, because while I would have loved to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse win the Best Animated Feature.
Sure.
The Boy and the Heron.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Won, and that is an absolute beautiful film.
I mean, yeah.
To close out the life and career of Miyazaki, you couldn't have done any better.
I saw someone from the Spider-Verse team said that if you have to lose,
that's the one to lose.
You lose to the master.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Shout out to all of them, ladies and gentlemen. And there is our Oscar chat.
There is our Oscar chat. The great thing about Oscar is that they keep the black talk short,
real short, real short. All right, we're going to get into what you have to say, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. That means it is time for missives from the missionaries.
All right.
What's going on, Lynn? We have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries.
Ooh.
Missives from the missionaries.
Now I gotta look that way. See when he points to me.
My whole thing with the screen is like one of them old people phones. With the font is all big.
Oh yeah, because we got a monitor in front of us now, ladies and gentlemen. So we see your names like big.
So now I have to practice my discipline of not getting distracted
by the
which is
the
difficult for me anyway. Ooh, a squirrel.
I don't even know. I missed it. Oh, he gave us. See, he's all the way, and he's in the dark.
I know.
I can't even see Dylan.
I know.
They're changing things up here at Young
I
Junk, ladies
know.
and gentlemen.
Go ahead.
In real time. All right. We got an email, Vincent. This one is from Terry Plain.
Hey, Terry.
The subject line, missives need a redo and an apology.
Oh.
Dear Len.
Okay.
Keeping the innocents out of this. I was listening to the start of the last review of Hickey and Boggs, and when you started referencing the last top 5 with the top 5 brother bands.
You are never going to live this down. And I say that's what you get.
Didn't think much of it at first until you referenced Jagged Edge at number 5. I was driving and almost clutched Imaginary Pearls, where I knew them as a brothers group. I didn't, or whether I knew them as a brothers group or not, I didn't. How in the world did Jagged Edge make anybody's top 5? I decided to end that episode and immediately go to the Blues Brothers review, which I hadn't yet listened to.
You made Terry stop listening to the review.
Stop it in the tracks.
Just made him stop listening to the review.
As it started with honorable mention of Kool and the Gang, I patiently listened to Len's patiently listen to Len's 5 of Jagged Edge and then number 4 of Bone Thugs and Harmony. At this point, I'm thinking Len must have guzzled a gallon of Cafe Bustelo and was just restless and needed to move his fingers on a keyboard because I was confused. When he got to number 3 as the Jackson 5, my head was spinning because at number 3, Len is literally calling the Jacksons an American Dream family, the equivalent of mid.
Yeah, by definition. Because see, Terry's doing math. If you have 1 to 5, I don't know if you picked that up or not, but 3 would be the average on the list. So continue, Terry.
I would have called a seance to bring back Joe Jackson's ghost to haunt you eternally for speaking such blasphemy. But then your number 2 was Jodeci.
No, it wasn't Jodeci.
Correct. It was Casey.
It was Casey. Right.
I parsed it.
You said Casey and JoJo's solo career.
Well, I said because they were the continuing act. Anyway, go ahead. Harry continues. I remembered I needed to take my blood pressure medicine for the day because my ears started to ring at that point. I practiced my controlled breathing and held my breath until you listed number 1, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Okay.
I let out an authentic sigh of release because you finally got something right in this travesty of a list.
Travesty.
I believe this list deserves a redo by Vincent, who I could tell was holding his peace. You are so diplomatic, Vincent.
I may or may not have had several conversations offline where I had to defend your list. Hey, man. Everybody knows I ride for Mons. So, look, I didn't make the list, but that's the Micheaux Mission list. I stand by that list. My man's made the list. That's my man's. I ride with him.
Now, for the
one band, one sound.
I appreciate it. Now for the apology.
Okay.
I decided to go back to the Hickey and Boggs episode just to check through the names of Monday quarterback commentary on other suggested brother groups. After sobering up and getting help from the missives, the wrongs of the previous week were slowly getting righted. But there was still something missing. Something that made me want to shout. Something that made me wish a summer breeze could cool my heated spirit. Something that made me want to fight the power of anxiety I felt when I thought about this egregious omission. How could you, Len, break this old heart of mine? Len, you know what you need to do, but I understand if you don't, because it's your thing. Sincerely, that lady, Terry Plain.
Right. It seems like if you don't fix it, you might hear footsteps, baby. In the dark. In the dark.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I acknowledge that the Isley brothers should have been on the list. There's an argument to be made that they should be on the list no lower than number 2. Okay?
Who would be number 1 over the Isley
You
brothers?
can argue between whether or not you put them over Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I'd say the argument would be, and I'll give you this.
You're going to make me want to shout.
I will give you this. I would put the Isley brothers over Earth, Wind, and Fire as a better brother act than Earth, Wind, and Fire, because Earth, Wind, and Fire is really about the band.
Sure.
That just happens to their brothers in it.
Sure.
As opposed to the Isley brothers, it's like all brothers.
It's right there in the name.
So I will acquiesce on that.
You got to acquiesce? Say it with your chest.
I said it with my chest.
I know you did. Keep saying it.
Because I said the Jacksons were number 3.
Man, plant your flag.
And now in rewriting the list, they are no longer number 3. They are now number 4.
So it's the Isleys, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and who else is over the Jacksons?
Casey and JoJo. I'm saying it with my chest.
Look, all right. Thank you, Terry, for the letter. Terry, you know how to get in contact with us if you don't think that the solo careers of Casey and JoJo.
They're not solo careers. It's a duo.
I'm sorry. The post-Jodeci careers.
No, I said no. No, get it right. I said combined.
Okay, the Jodeci plus Casey and JoJo are a better career than the Jackson. So does that include the Jackson 5 and the Jacksons then? If it's Jodeci and Casey and JoJo, are you saying the Jackson 5 and the Jacksons? I'm just clarifying.
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay, all right. You know how to reach us, Terry. Come on.
Well, this will be continuing. Didn't put out any fires there. George Cremona emailed us.
Hey, what's up, George?
With a subject line about Hickey and Boggs. Greetings, gents and missionaries. I missed last week's live show because I wanted to see the movie before your review. And I also took my mom and aunt to see Dune 2.
Nice.
To borrow a Vince phrase, this was such a bizarre movie with its stripped down dialogue. The movie is filled with scenes where folks are just moving around in the scene. The Foley technician was working overtime to make up for the lack of dialogue. I had it on at work to have background noise, but the lack of talking forces you to watch what's happening in the scene. All this to say, I enjoyed the movie more as a near noir vehicle for the two. Just weird. Last, if you had to remake this, Hickey and Boggs, as a Netflix show,
okay,
who would you pair it up for this weird precursor to Lethal Weapon? Hickey and Boggs walked so that Riggs and Murtaugh could run. So who would you, if you were doing this Hickey and Boggs as a Netflix series, and to be honest, that's not a bad idea.
Well, it just jumped in my mind. Michael Keaton and Delroy Lindo.
Ooh, only reason I wouldn't say that's not a bad pairing. The only reason I wouldn't do those two is I think you may want to do a little younger.
No, I think they got to be older.
Yeah, but I mean, but
sort of
the both of those are both of them are if not close to their 70s.
Yes, but I think 2024 70 is equal to 1972 40.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I think both of them could handle the physicality.
No.
How much physicality was in Hickey and
I mean, it's just a little bit of Hickey.
it was
Bill Cosby chases a dude down in a football field.
Did you watch I just forgot the name of the show that was just on the Kerry Washington show with Delroy Lindo.
I remember you told me about that show.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
He could be Hickey. He could be Hickey. Like again, this is not a Marvel movie jumping around, but that little trot that Hickey does, Delroy Lindo can handle that.
I don't know. Hickey, I mean, he did more of a trot in the movie. To be fair, Bill Cosby chases the dude down in a football field. He gets his pen relays on.
Yes.
In a suit.
I think Delroy Lindo could handle that level of physicality. And I mean, look, it's going to be some stunt doubles and stuff.
Okay. All right. But as a pairing,
right? Because I think you gotta, it's physical performance. I think when you punch it up, it's going to be a little comedy underneath it. You got to have menace. You got to have camaraderie.
I hear you.
Yeah. So.
I hear you. That's not bad. That's not who I would cast.
Who would you cast?
The person that I would cast, I would give everybody the reteaming that they want. They don't know that they want.
Okay. And that would be?
And older.
Okay.
Dominic West and Wendell Pierce. Reuniting them from The Wire. And putting them in Hickey and
Yeah,
Bob.
see, I love Wendell Pierce as much as everybody else, but you're not going to tell me Wendell Pierce can be more physical than Delroy Lindo.
No, he can't. But so you maybe have to switch it.
Okay.
So maybe he's Hickey in name, but Boggs in character. And vice versa. But I would like to see those two now older, a little bit more grizzled.
Sure.
I think that they would.
Sure.
They could be great in that.
I would not turn that down or turn that off.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. All right, so there you go, George.
Thank you, George.
There's your answer. I hope you like that because
You have to tell me how the ladies in your life enjoyed Dune 2.
Yeah. All right. We got another email from Jason Hall.
Hey, what's up, Jason?
Hey guys, love the podcast. I just discovered it a few weeks ago and binging old episodes.
Thank you.
I'm curious if and when you're planning to review American Fiction. I've seen it, loved it, and listened to a few all-white movie reviews of it, which are interesting, but can't wait to hear your take. American Fiction will be coming down the pike.
I feel like it's a fall movie.
Yeah.
Feels fall.
Yeah.
We have opinions on American Fiction. When it came out, we kind of gave a pre-review. Remember we talked about it?
Oh, we did, yeah, because we didn't want to
screening. Yeah,
knock off the box office.
Short version, we liked it.
Yes,
a lot,
a great deal. Corey P. wrote us.
Hey, Corey.
Hi, Len and Vince, from your fellow missionary Corey. I've been listening to this podcast for a few months now, and I realized that while the mission is to review every black film ever made, there's a question that you both may say has yet to be answered. What is a black film, or rather, what constitutes a black film? Since last month, you reviewed films like The Blues Brothers and Summer of Sam. I do have a question about these films I'm going to mention. Do you consider these black films? Some of these have been asked before, Vincent. At Any Given Sunday, which is definitely under consideration.
Yeah, debatable.
What about Rush Hour?
I'm going to give Rush Hour, all of those buddy films, as well, appropriately enough, because this month my choice are buddy films. I'm giving them black film status.
I think I think we've proven that we've done.
Sure. And certainly, frankly, any of these buddy films made after 48 Hours, and certainly Lethal Weapon, I think you have to you have to acknowledge how blackness plays a role in how they were made. You know, just to give her a preview, one of the things that fascinates me about Running Scared is that I feel like it's one of these cross-racial buddy films that is definitely before Lethal Weapon. Mm-hmm. And I've off the top of my head, I don't know if it's before or after 48 Hours.
I think it's after.
But it certainly feels like a pre-48 Hours buddy film.
Really? I feel like it feels like a post 48 Hours film.
I think Billy Crystal gives as good as he gets.
Yeah.
I think the dynamic of the post 48 Hours black whatever combination is that the black guy is the wisecracking one, and then the white guy has more of the straight man role, which is kind of what makes Lethal Weapon so subversive.
Right,
because you know,
there.
But even that is a reaction, because it's like we're almost making a reverse 48 Hours with that dynamic.
Yeah.
And the thing about Running Scared is that both of them,
they're kind of like on equal footing.
and they have this wonderful kineticism where they bounce off of each other. Like they're actually kind of playing tennis almost.
And now that I think about it, it might be more that Running Scared is offering a grittier commentary on the cop shows of those time.
Yeah,
Which
here
have a
you
lot
go.
of like teen.
It feels a
think
lot
like
more.
Starsky and
I was
Hutch.
just about to say it feels more like Starsky and Hutch
Yeah,
than 48 Hours.
That's a good point.
But that's for next week.
Yeah.
There you go, Jason. We do preview reviews sometimes.
Email from Michael Lockett.
Hey, what's up, Michael?
Lennon Vince, I just enjoyed listening to your critique and rewatching To Serve with Love. And I also listened and watched Hickey and Boggs for the first time. To Serve with Love, I had kind of forgotten about in Portier's filmography. Captain America is a great description of his character in this very British film. As a comics guy, when you mention Cap, it definitely connects, and also made me think of a short question for you too. Can you two think of a better character than Captain America for embodying an ever-changing idea? The many holders of this shield, for example, Isaiah Bradley, Steve Rogers, Sam Wilson, Bucky Barnes, allow the telling of the complicated story of who is an American and what patriotism is in a way that I don't think other characters and ideas can do. Seeing Cosby in Hickey and Boggs blew my mind. This film also, although just so, does seem like it really opened people's eyes to what a gritty, imperfect cop/detective movie could be. Undoubtedly, Portier and Cosby were stellar talents. I would argue that with his flaws out for public consumption, Cosby was or is a better entertainer by a long shot over Portier, entertainer, not an actor. Thanks for another great pair of critiques, Michael. I resonate with him on the Captain America, using him as an analog for kind of like, you know, you displaying patriotism and what is an American, you know, at a different time. That is something that I've taken note of in my in and out with the Captain America series over the years. Captain America is definitely one of those comic books that I find myself every few years I return to because there's a run that is like really hitting me.
Sure.
You know? And I think that's one of the reasons why. It's because it is, okay, what commentary is he offering on America or the world today as it is with this character?
Yeah. I mean,
in that way.
I think a perfect character is one that everyone can project onto, and it still retains its essence. So, like, I think you can be red meat conservative and find a Captain America that works for you. But then, as you said, and I'll just speak for you because I know your taste, the ones that resonate with us are more about the ideal.
Yeah.
and certainly you have those as well. So I agree. I also think Spider-Man is perfect. Like, I think Spider-Man is a perfect character for these same reasons.
Yeah.
And, just to show my bias, I do think it's much more difficult to have a conservative kind of red meat read of Spider-Man. But in my mind, like that moment in, speaking of the Spider-Verse, Enter the Spider-Verse, where Stan Lee says anybody can be Spider-Man and you'll grow into it, is my favorite, like my favorite kind of runs of Spider-Man kind of embody that. It's kind of what makes Miles Morales work so much better than these other versions of these characters that have sort of, these kind of substitute versions, stand-in versions. I think the concept of Spider-Man, it was easy to have this young black Puerto Rican kid who is still, Spider-Man.
Right.
So,
all right.
But thank you. That was Michael?
That was Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
We also got an email from longtime missionary Robert Monroe Jr.
Hey, what's up, Robert?
Good morning, Len and Vince. I'm currently reading Horror Noir, Blacks in American Horror Movies from the 1890s to present.
Nice.
By Robin R. Means Coleman, and it got me thinking.
Okay.
What horror and science fiction movies would be seen completely differently if the main character was black?
Okay.
What if, for say, Klaatu from The Day the Earth Stood Still was a black man?
Mm-hmm.
What if Nancy Archer from Attack of the 50-Foot Woman was a black woman? Mm-hmm. How would these films be seen at the time and today? Wearing my Oscar Micheaux shirt, as I do every Tuesday, Robert Monroe Jr.
By my read, we saw a version of Klaatu as a black man.
Brother from another...
Brother John.
Oh, Brother John.
Brother John.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I keep always forgetting about Brother John.
Yeah, Brother John. They actually say it in the film where one of the characters says to Sidney Poitier, it seems a little unfair that they would send, by my read, the aliens would send someone to judge mankind who basically was a black man. Mm-hmm. Like, it seems like they're betting against us. And the response is basically, yeah, but who better
exactly
to judge how humans are than someone? So, and as far as a 50-foot woman, I don't know about a 50-foot woman. I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to touch that with.
I'm not going to touch that.
I'm not going to touch that.
I'm not going to touch that. What if that was the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman was
50-foot woman.
A black woman?
It was a black woman.
Ooh, I just say it would be the shortest horror movie of all. It'd be shorter than Godzilla versus Bambi.
Godzilla versus Bambi. Yeah. All right.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
We have one more email, Vincent.
Okay.
Excuse me. We have two more. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because it's been a while since we've read the email from Michael Sykes. So,
hey, Michael.
Here we go. Michael Sykes. I may not rap, I may not rhyme, but I know this movie wasted all of my time.
Oh, I know what he's talking about.
After 15 minutes of watching rapping, it made me take a napping. Talk about a soulless movie. Not everyone can rap. Why at the end of the movie, they had the whole neighborhood rapping.
Whole neighborhood was rapping. That's right. And the one guy was rapping country western, remember?
Vincent attacking the Snack Attack song made me laugh so hard I choked and my whole side was hurting. Did y'all notice it had the We Got New Edition at Home version of their New Edition? Hey, Len, Melvin Van Peebles, Harry Belafonte, and Play from Kid and Play, Beetlejuice reference. By the way, Mario Van Peebles did more than trip over them dumbed down rhymes. He collapsed and fell into a coma. There is no snapping and clapping, watching rapping.
Yeah.
Love, Michael Sykes. Yes.
Yeah.
I contend that rapping, to this day, is the worst film that we have watched.
I still think Soul Plane is worse.
Oh, no.
I do.
No.
I find Soul Plane offensive.
Okay, Soul Plane is offensive. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
right?
rapping is just dumb.
Yes, but here's the thing. Soul Plane is offensive, but it's a competently made movie. And while you may find it offensive, there is an audience for that film that enjoys that level of humor.
I'm pretty sure we talked about it at the time. There are people who like rapping.
No, there isn't.
You think they're all lying?
No, there's no one that likes
They
rapping.
just don't exist.
No one likes
So
rapping.
when you look it up and people say I enjoy rapping, you think those are like Russian bots
Yes.
trying to
Yes.
destabilize our democracy?
You boom.
I figured it out.
You figured it out. Nobody likes rapping.
Nobody likes rapping.
Rapping is the worst movie that we have seen so far. Not counting like super dumb, low budget movies or anything like that. Like there was a budget for rapping.
I'm counting the super dumb, low budget movie. I think rapping is worse. Than
Well, I can't say that because as bad as rapping is, there is Adios Amigos.
Is rapping worse than Adios Amigos?
Yeah, I mean, because on a whole,
Whew, that's a question right there.
see, and what was the other Fred Williamson movie?
Oh, you mean the Italian one? It's worse than that Italian joint.
Yeah. See, it's worse than that because at least I knew what it was.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But Adios Amigos.
Plus they would play the soul music when Fred Williamson came on. It was a whole movie of Italian white people. And then Fred Williamson would come on and go, it's a black guy. Look at the black guy.
We can't get the name of it, ladies and gentlemen. It's not fair for us to be laughing.
What was the name of that movie?
We don't need to know.
Okay.
We don't even need to know. We don't even need to know. We do have one more email that I wanted to share with you, Vincent.
Okay.
And this is from...
Can the missionaries listen?
They're here.
Okay.
This is from FeedSpot. Have you ever heard of FeedSpot?
I have not.
FeedSpot is basically one of those websites that creates lists of different things, right?
Okay.
And then they reach out to the people that they make the list of to let them know, hey, we made this list of the top 10 fingernails and you're on it.
Okay.
Do you want to share this news with your audience?
Okay.
As a way of getting them out there.
Sure. So what list are we on?
The founder of FeedSpot would like us to know that our podcast, The Micheaux Mission, has been selected as one of the top 80 two-men podcasts on the web.
Okay, I'll take that.
Now, Now, of course, we have the option of changing our name or profile pic on their list so that it matches, Sure, go in and shout it out. Now, the top 80, weird number, two-men podcasts.
Okay, all right.
We were nominated as one. Where do you think we fall in the ranking?
72.
We are not at number 72.
Okay.
We are not at number 72. We actually, the Micheaux Mission comes in at, no. I think it was here. I thought we were at one number and we are actually, nope. There we go. We are number 23.
Take that, 24 through 80. And number 22, we coming for that ass.
Yes, number 22.
How does one go up on the list?
I don't know.
Is it like trial by combat or?
I'm not sure. I don't know how
like arm wrestling or?
I don't know how often they update the list.
Do we send them a check somehow? And
something tells me we wanted to contribute
like
to FeedSpot.
We contribute.
We might be able to find our way up to number one, depending on the donation.
It's a nice status you have there. It'd be a shame if you fell lower on the list.
They do, admittedly, they do have our old logo. Interesting.
Well, thank you, Feed Spot.
Would you like to hear what is number 22?
Yeah, who we coming for?
Number 22 is the Educated Idiots podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Two middle-aged white men
Racism.
with degrees in education and insights that make you question those degrees.
All right.
So we are coming for.
That's right. We're going to give you a degree of questioning. I don't know. Look, I'm just real-time smack talk. I've never been really that good at smack talk. I don't know. I don't know what I'm spiraling over here, Lynn. I don't know.
Well, that is the emails, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
And thank you, Feed Spot. We appreciate
thank you,
it.
Feed Spot.
We appreciate egg.
Appreciate everybody.
Yeah.
We really do.
God bless.
We really do. It's like we really do. Thanks for listening.
I don't know who left this comment, but somebody said Len just made me miss my turn because I pushed the Jacksons down to number 4.
Yeah, look, man. Look.
That was Beth Brown.
Look, man.
Look, well, you know what? Let's go back. No, let's go back. No, let's go back to that question real quick. Go back to that question real quick. Because Terry Plain said that the list needs a redo. What would your list be? They said Vincent should do a list.
Osley Brothers, Jackson 5.
Where would you put your whispers?
Earth, Wind, and Fire. If we're going to do Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Jodeci.
I'd actually put the Whispers because I think the Whispers, you think about them more as siblings than Sly's in the Family Stone. And Jodeci at 5.
Okay, so you would have Jodeci at 5.
I'd have Jodeci at 5.
Which would include Casey and JoJo.
No, I don't acknowledge Casey and JoJo. You know why I don't acknowledge Casey and JoJo? Because no one acknowledges Casey and JoJo.
They had hits.
You stop with this hit stuff. They did. Hammer had hits. Lots of people had hits. Can't nobody name a Casey and JoJo hit. That was it. When they did that $5 version of If You Think You're Lonely Now, is that Casey and JoJo or is that Jodeci?
That was Casey and JoJo.
Right, exactly. Like nobody.
That was a hit.
It was a hit because it was for a generation of people who had never actually heard Bobby Womack before.
You put Jodeci at number 5. I'm fine.
Like Jodeci is actually iconic, and I'm not a Jodeci fan, but respect where respect is due.
That's right. Put respect on the name.
I mean, I did.
Okay.
Like I actually did.
All right. So can we move on now?
I was
Thank
ready
you.
to move on.
Thank you. It is now time for the top 5.
Oh boy.
Top 5. Who's the top 5? My top 5 is. My top 5.
What's our top 5? Oh wait, I'm sorry. It's pulling
My
up.
top 5.
I don't know. I got to look over. Oh, see? I got to look over this way. And it looks weird on camera because I got to look this way. Top 5, ladies and gentlemen, where I come up with a very passionate list. And I give it to Vincent and obviously to you too,
Yes, to the
to
board.
add your commentary
That's right.
on.
That's right. It's a group effort.
Tonight's top 5, Vincent, keeping it in theme,
Always.
as we are going to be reviewing from 1972 Sounder.
Yes.
This is the top 5 Sounder likes. Films that sounder like another movie, but they're not.
Okay. Sure, Lynn. I learn about this when y'all learn about this, folks. This is not in the staff meeting.
Number 5.
Number 5.
From 2007. Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille. Marcel Tuing that rat owner of the best restaurant in Rio de Janeiro must embark on a series of missions to steal ingredients from human restaurants to ensure his meals remain the best. Every Thursday night, Marcel goes on a mission with his assistant Carol and his friend Greg, the worst waiter in town, to search for rare ingredients that can only be found in restaurants owned by humans. They are faced with real dangers like rat traps and cat attacks. Their adventures get even more dangerous when a bunch of jealous rats decide to get together to try and put an end to Ratatouille's culinary success. Ratatouille from 2007, not to be confused with Ratatouille by Pixar.
Was this direct to video or you don't? I mean, you don't have to look it up. I'm just trying to figure out how Pixar didn't sue these people into oblivion.
It may have went directly to the video store.
Okay, all right,
but it was a thing.
All right.
Ratatouille. Were you familiar with Ratatouille?
I not until this exact second.
It's computer animated.
Well, it would have to be.
I mean,
Yeah.
It was made with a Lego computer.
Okay. All right.
Number four. From 2009, an American science fiction film directed by Xavier Plusowski,
Oh, okay.
starring Jeremy London, A. Martinez, and Paul Logan. The Terminators.
The Terminators.
It was released 1 month prior to the premiere of the fourth film in the Terminator franchise, Terminator Salvation. This film is unrelated to the Terminator franchise.
Right.
It takes place at an undetermined point in the future.
Right. But I bet the future looks like a soundstage in Canada.
when humanity has developed advanced robotic technology with enhanced artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
This includes the use of cybernetic organisms, or cyborgs, called TR4s.
That's fantastic.
After being reprogrammed by the newest model, TR5, the machines instigate a cybernetic revolt against humanity, bombing cities and sending thousands of armed, identical TR4 androids to eradicate all human life.
Again, this sounds like somebody that should have got sued.
But they were not.
Yeah.
This was...
All jokes aside, this was one of my favorite types of movies in the 80s.
What,
the knockoffs?
The knockoffs
of the like the Mad Max knock. I probably saw way more Road Warrior knockoffs than someone should, and I watched all of them.
I mean, I think there was a Fred Williamson Italian
film
that you made us watch.
I think that absolutely. Yeah.
Number three, 2016, another science fiction action film.
Mm-hmm.
Independence Day.
Independence Day.
Independence.
And what was this one about?
The alien Orions attack the planet as humans are deemed too violent.
Sure.
After blowing up many of the Earth's capital cities, they then heal many of the sick and offer to transport them, those who are hungry and others who wanted to go to another planet, and many of the Earthlings volunteered to go.
Until they realized that to serve man is a cookbook.
And Earth First Militia forms to fight the aliens, while the U.S. Vice President, because the aliens have killed the president, negotiates with the aliens. The plot was noted to be very convoluted.
At any point, does the hero punch the bad guy and say, "Welcome to Earth, and keep my name out your mother"? Sorry.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. That was not in the script.
All right.
Number two.
From
2006.
Jagged Edge.
This was a...
Sorry.
This was a direct-to-video action thriller horror film. Also released by the producers of Independence Day and the Terminators.
Sure. From the people who brought you Independence Day and the Terminators. Mm-hmm.
Snakes on a Train.
Snakes on a Train.
In this film, a woman has been put under a Mayan curse,
As one does.
which causes snake eggs to hatch inside her belly
Oh my
and eat their way out. In order to recover the lost pieces of herself, aka the snakes, she must travel to Los Angeles,
Sure.
where a powerful Mayan shaman can lift the curse.
Because if you're a Mayan shaman, where else would you live but Los Angeles?
She takes the snakes along with her in small jars.
Okay.
And while on the train, bandits attack her,
Bandits.
allowing
Bandits attack her.
they attack her, allowing the snakes to escape
From the jars.
endangering the other passengers.
Sure.
Eventually and inexplicably, she
Oh, this part is inexplicable.
herself transforms into a gigantic snake
I mean,
and swallows the moving train whole.
oh, so she's a big snake.
6 passengers manage to escape unharmed, and one of them performs a magic ritual which causes her to vanish. However, one girl is shown to have been unknowingly bitten, suggesting that the curse will remain.
Because the curse can
Transfer.
through
Saliva.
through a snake bite.
Yes.
I'm sure at some point in this
Or
film
venom.
they mentioned this, and we would call that foreshadowing.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right.
Which is a part of good storytelling.
Sure. Here's the thing. I'd 100% watch this.
I would. The second they said she eats the whole train, I have to find.
Come on, man. You know they had me at Bandits.
Yes. Cause I know you. You are picturing bandits literally with little
with the kerchief,
with a
Oh, right,
kerchief around their face.
Exactly. Pew pew. Right. Nobody make no moves, and this can all go smoothly. We can all get to our destinations peacefully and in one place.
And they're probably riding up on bicycles.
Sure.
Anyway, no.
All right.
Number one.
Number one.
From 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidentally enough, also from the producers of Snakes on a Train, Independence Day, and The Terminator.
Terminators.
2007, Love at First Bite, AVH, Alien versus Hunter. Now,
This is a very confusing title.
before you laugh at this obvious knockoff resemblance to Alien versus Predator,
No matter who wins, we all lose. That was a tagline.
this film stars Dee Pfeiffer,
Okay.
actress of note,
Okay.
and
Don't ask me to connect her to Derville Martin.
the greatest American hero himself, William Catt.
William Catt. Interesting.
This film, like Alien and the Predator film franchise, deals with a suburban community being threatened by a fight between 2 warring extraterrestrial beings. Scott Foy of Dread Central gives it 0.5 out of 5 stars
Okay.
and calls it neither fun, nor exciting, nor scary, nor even so bad that it's good.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's and the author Brian Sen calls the film utterly dismal in every respect.
Okay. All right. Now, you said Dee Pfeiffer is a actor of some note.
Yes.
What was she, is this a man or a woman?
Is it a woman?
What would she have been in that I knew her from?
What would you have known her in? She was looking her up now.
You said it with your chest, like, ooh.
No, well, do you remember when Sybil Shepherd had a short run sitcom called Sybil?
I do.
She played her daughter.
Okay. All right.
And she also starred in another short-run sitcom, not right after that, called For Your Love.
Is that the one with Holly Robinson Pete?
For Your Love starred Holly Robinson Pete.
Right.
And Dee Dee Pfeiffer was in there.
Okay.
So there you go. You have seen.
There you go.
You have seen Dee Dee
Asked
Pfeiffer.
and answered.
And she was the star of Love at First Bite, AVH, Alien versus Hunter.
Now, was it Love at First Bite, colon?
No, it's Love at First Bite, AVH, Alien versus Hunter.
Alien versus Hunter. Okay. All right.
I don't title these films.
Sure.
I merely read them.
You just report the news.
I just report these.
Okay.
Top 5 sounder likes.
All right. Well, there you go.
There you go.
I do like a knockoff movie.
I don't.
I know.
I've yet to see a knockoff movie that I have. No. That's not fair. I did, what was that? There was a knockoff of...
I think at least 2 of Jean-Claude Van Damme's early movies are Terminator knockoffs. And they're both quite enjoyable.
What?
It's like Cyborg.
Cyborg.
And then there's another one called like something close to Terminator. And I enjoyed both of those.
And now that I'm thinking about it, the one I was about to say that I like, it wasn't really a knockoff. It was a spoof. And
Okay.
That's not a knockoff.
Right.
Because I think there was a because I like the first Scary Movie.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, that's the top 5,
There's top 5.
ladies and gentlemen.
Well done.
I don't see this one.
I think you're good.
I think we're good on this one.
I think you're good.
Thank you. All right.
But we'll see.
You know what? Something about that top 5 sounded like, Glenn. You owe an apology. All right.
All right.
Let us now continue with 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin.
All right.
The Game of Kings.
The Game of Kings.
I actually should look at you and then you should signal me when he gives a signal.
Okay, we do that. All right.
What?
Wait, do you have your fingers up? Are you counting down? No. Oh. All right, go. I didn't know if he had his fingers up and was counting me down. We'll figure it out. All right, well, go ahead.
We'll work this out.
Yeah. It's all real time, folks.
6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin, ladies and gentlemen, where I give Vincent 2 actors and he has 6 films or less to connect them with D'Urville Martin, who sounds like nobody else.
That's right.
There's no sounder like for D'Urville Martin. Vincent.
Yes.
Keeping in theme.
Okay.
We are reviewing Sounder.
We are.
Tonight, which stars Cicely Tyson and one Paul Winfield.
Yeah.
Connect D'Urville Martin to these 2 actors who also share the same initials as Paul Winfield, PW.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. What we got?
Number 1 in 6 films or less. Connect D'Urville Martin to Patrick Wilson. You have seen Patrick Wilson.
Can I see his picture? I can't see his picture. That's cheating looking at his picture. Oh, Ocean Master. Is he in anything else besides Aquaman?
Yes, he's been in everything. He's in tons of things besides Aquaman. He didn't just step on a
Is there
scene.
anything I would use besides? Would I know him anywhere?
I'm
but
looking
Aquaman?
through his IMDb.
I mean, I'll get to Aquaman, but now I'm just sort of curious because he is familiar.
Yeah,
Like, he's a really familiar looking guy.
Looking through his IMDb, what films that I think you have seen him in? There's a big one. There's a huge movie that I fairly certain you have seen him in. I can't say for certain, but I'm
I'm going to use Aquaman, so just tell me.
okay. Watchmen.
You know, I didn't watch the Watchmen movie.
Really?
It was garbage.
It's not. It's not.
We're not having this conversation again. We have this conversation, I swear, once a year where you try to convince me that Watchmen and Zack Snyder didn't miss the entire point of Watchmen.
No, I didn't say that he didn't miss the entire point of Watchmen. I'm just saying that it's not garbage.
It's garbage. Oh, right, because is he buff, cut up Night Owl?
He's not buff, cut up Night Owl. He is Night Owl, but he's not buff and cut up. He's not.
Okay, that guy plays Night Owl. Right there shows that they completely.
He gets. It's a totally different body type. I mean, that's 2009. Aquaman is not till 10 years later.
Derville Martin is in 5 on the Black Hand Side with Dick Anthony Williams. Mm-hmm. Dick Anthony Williams is in Mo Better Blues with Cinda Williams. Mm-hmm. Cinda Williams is in One False Move with Michael Beach. And Michael Beach is in Aquaman with Patrick Wilson.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good, Vincent.
Yes.
I'm just saying the Watchmen is not horrible.
Cord Jefferson wrote the Hooded Justice episode of Watchmen.
Yes, he did.
So, a television show that understood Watchmen.
And is better than the movie. I'm not knocking you.
No, not it's better. Actually read the material and understood it.
Vincent,
I hear Zack Snyder talking about things now, and I have to say, with all due respect to Zack Snyder, I'm wondering, can he actually read? Has anyone checked to see if he's not just looking at the pictures? Comic books are a visual medium, and oftentimes you can kind of glean what's happening by looking at the pictures. But, I heard him this week talking about Batman, and I was like,
what did he say?
Oh, Batman, people saying Batman shouldn't kill people. That doesn't make any sense, and Batman should kill people. And I'm like, maybe Zack Snyder can't read. Has anyone checked, can he read?
I mean, there is an argument to be made.
But then he's not Batman.
Okay.
That's like saying Batman should wear a funny hat. Oh, well, I mean, if he has a sombrero on, he's still Batman. I mean, why can't he wear a sombrero?
First of all, I think that Batman could kill. I'm not saying randomly, just serial killer, kill. But I think you could have Batman kill someone and he still be Batman.
At his core, this is someone who has never recovered from watching his parents die in front of him.
That is very true.
So at his core, the tragedy and sadness of Batman is that he wants to get to a point where there is no more Batman, but he's never going to get to that point because for there to be no more Batman, that means nobody dies. He doesn't want anyone to die.
No, yeah, I understand that.
So the Batman who kills people is now not Batman.
Yeah, see,
who's next on the list? I'm not going to eat up time talking about this dumbass Watchmen movie where, again...
Well, now we're on an interesting Batman conversation.
Well, I'm just talking about Zack Snyder. I don't know if he can read. Now I need Zack Snyder. I need someone to hand him a piece of paper
and have him read it out
and
loud
have him
on video.
Read. I need them to do like they did Phyllis Wheatley, and them white men surrounded her and made her write a poem in front of them because they thought she was an abolitionist hoax.
Yes.
I now think that Zack Snyder is an abolitionist hoax. That the northern agitators have put up because they don't understand slavery. That's what I think Zack Snyder is.
This is taking a turn.
I'm just saying. He was. I was like, maybe he can't read. Does anyone know if Zack Snyder can read? He just looks at the pictures.
I'm going to continue.
Okay, who's next on the list?
In 6 films or less, connect Derville Martin to Paul Williams.
Oh, you know I love Paul Williams. You know I love little Paul Williams. Oh man, how am I going to get to Paul Williams? Because you know exactly where I'm going with Paul.
I know
Williams.
exactly.
I'm
where
only
you're
going one place with
You're
Paul
only going
Williams.
one place.
I'm only going one place with that little man with the suit on, and he's standing next to Daddy, and they both have on their suits. And this, okay, here we're gonna get to Paul Williams. So D'Urville Martin is in. Guess who's coming to dinner with Sidney Poitier? Sidney Poitier is in Paris Blues with Paul Newman. Paul Newman is in The Sting with Jackie Gleason.
Jackie Gleason is not in this thing.
What's Jackie Gleason in with Paul Newman?
It's not. The
No,
Sting.
not The Sting. No, it is The Sting.
It's not the Sting.
How is it not The Sting? What is
Because it is not the Sting.
what is in, not The Hustler? Lynn, it is The Sting.
It is not the Sting.
What is it? What is he in with Paul Newman?
It's not the Sting.
What is the name of the movie?
It is called. I think it is The Hustler. I can.
Pretty sure it's The Sting.
No, it is not the Sting. The Sting is one of my top 10 favorite
Look it
movies.
up.
It's not the Sting. I'm telling you, it's not.
Look it up.
Yeah, The Hustler.
It's not The Sting.
No, it's The Hustler.
Okay, he's in The Hustler with Jackie Gleason. And then Jackie Gleason is, of course, in Smokey and the Bandit with Paul Williams.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right.
Is Paul Williams in anything else in movies
Yeah.
besides Smokey and the Bandit?
Yeah.
What else is Paul Williams in? I used to love Paul Williams.
He's in probably definitely a movie that I think you've seen. He was in Smokey and the Bandits in 1977, of course. In 1979, he is a featured cameo in the Muppet movie.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Of course.
He
Rainbow Connection.
also has a cameo in the Muppet Christmas Carol. But I'm surprised, Vincent, that you do not go back to Paul Williams to 1973, where Paul Williams appears in Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
Who was he in Battle for the Planet of the Apes?
Paul Williams in Battle for the Planet of the Apes is Virgil.
I'll be damned. He sure is Virgil. I forgot all about that. Of course, how do I get to Battle? Who's in Battle?
Roddy
Roddy McDowell.
Roddy McDowell is probably
The only one. Right?
or Claude Akins.
Yeah, I would never get to Claude.
But you'd probably
Akins.
never
Yeah.
get to Claude Akins.
Right, so I'd have to bounce to Charlton Heston in Planet to get to Roddy McDowell, and then Roddy McDowell links me to the rest of them. Well, that's very loud. Okay, all right. I forgot he was Virgil. That's a good pull.
Yeah.
But I always think him in that little suit next to the other dude.
Yes, next to Pat McCann.
Okay, all right, excellent. All right, there you go.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is it.
What's wrong?
Because the chat always distracts me.
I'm telling you, it's too big.
And Sharon Eldridge is asking me, are you sure, Len, about the Sting? Yes, I'm sure. He's not in the Sting.
Okay.
He's not in the Sting. The Sting is Paul Newman, Robert Redford, and Robert. It's not Vaughn, but the guy who then is McQuaid in Jaws.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are the stars.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right.
It's time for us to get into our review
Yes.
of Sounder.
Sounder, a 1972 American drama directed by Martin Ritt and adapted by Lon Elder from the 1969 novel of the same name by William Armstrong. Concerns an African-American sharecropper family in the Deep South who struggle with economic and personal hardships, specifically food insecurity during the Great Depression. It stars Cicely Tyson, Paul Winfield, and introduces Kevin Hooks. The Sounder from 1972 was the choice of Lynn Webb. Lynn, I believe this was your first time watching Sounder. What would you like to say about this film?
This was my first time seeing the film, and it's a film that I've heard has been heralded for years as like this American classic. But I think because of its setting, knowing that it was dealing with sharecroppers back in the Depression, you know, my immediate thought was like, ugh, I don't know if I'm ready for this film. I've got to be in a certain mindset before I sit down and watch this movie.
No doubt.
And it is one of those films that an exercise such as this podcast was made for me because it forces me to sit down and watch the movie and give it its just due. And so sitting down to this for this film, I was prepared to be like, all right, I'm going to be in my sad bag. I got my tissues next to me.
Sure.
You know, I'm cutting off all like contact with all of the white people in my life because y'all might catch some hands real quick.
That's when Taj Mahal is playing that sad music.
You know, everybody's walking, nobody got no shoes. I'm like, man, the kids only got one shirt between them.
One shirt.
I'm like, oh my God. Every stitch of clothing has like multiple patches that have been patched up. Like the one Kevin Hooks and young Kevin Hooks introduced in this film, his whole arm is damn near a patch. The whole sleeve is a patch. I was like, yo, all right. Let me just get ready. Cicely Tyson is sweaty as hell in this movie. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me get ready for this film. And then I learned that, and then the other telltale sign that this may be a tearjerker is that I learned when it comes on, you know, it says, you know, Sounder. And then I see Paul Winfield, Kevin Hooks walking across the field, and I hear a dog, and they're like, here's Sounder. I'm like, oh, the dog's name's Sounder. Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna shoot Sounder. Sounder. Dude, I am ready.
No doubt.
I am ready for it. But then a funny thing happened on the way to Sounder in watching this movie. That, for those who haven't seen this movie, is a family drama. You know, they are sharecroppers, they are poor, but they are very much, that is who they are. But they are living their life. They have their structure that is built into their life that, you know, Dad and Paul Winfield and his young son, young Kevin Hooks, they go hunting for possums at night. You know, apparently this must be the best tasting possum ever because they chase this possum across all of the South.
I mean, I think they was just hungry.
well, true. That too. Yes, because this was going to be the meat of the day.
Yeah.
But this is their routine, right? And then they come back home. Mom does wash to make a couple of pennies. You know, that's how she makes a little bit of extra money. And Dad and they're sharecroppers, and they don't get the possum. They go to bed. The kids are basically, they eat, but it's like you could get the idea that it's pretty much just like some cornmeal or something like that. Yeah. And Dad gets up in the middle of the night. Yo, I got to do what I got to do. And then eventually you learn that he went and stole some food for them.
Yes.
Wake up and there's sausages, there's meat, and it's like, yo, that's meat on a pot.
Yeah.
What's going on? And Dad's, hey, I did what I had to do. But he gets caught. He has to go to prison. He has to go to jail. hard labor for a year, and then the movie is about how the family. Okay, this is what it is. You're going to be here. We're going to get through. We're going to survive, and it is all about the survival of this family, and in their finding their way through what life is presenting to them, and even with along that way, still finding a way to be positive, to be a family that is in love, that is united, and also to progress in whatever way they can, specifically in their older boy, Kevin Hook's character, as he develops a relationship with a school teacher as he goes off in search of his father in this prison camp. And as I'm watching this movie, as much of there is the implied political agenda of the day, the racism, the class system between blacks and whites in this film, it is all there in the movie, but the movie is not about that. The movie is about living and just living day to day within that world.
Right.
And what does that look like? And how can you do that without letting it beat you down and tear you apart? And this movie shows how you do that because it's the way that we have been doing it for years. Day by day, inch by inch, minute by minute. That is what is on the screen in this movie, and in doing so, I think it presents a heretofore for me an almost unseen view of blackness on screen, and I can imagine totally unseen in 1972. At that point, looking at the films that came before, because it doesn't linger on any of the outside, stuff that is coming at them, the racism or anything. Nothing pulls this family apart from one another. Nothing pulls them from their mission. Their mission is to stay solid, to stay together, to keep thriving as much as they can until their father comes home. And, spoiler for a 50-something-year-old movie, they do.
Right.
This movie features not one, but two Academy Award nominated performances by Paul Winfield as the father, Cicely Tyson as the mother. And I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that we had a conversation not long ago. Matter of fact, it was the missionary, Lisa Alexander, was asking us about syllabus for films that depict, about black women in the 70s. And while this film is not set in the 70s, it is made in the 70s. And I would contend that this is one of the most positive and progressive and authentic depictions of a black woman and mother and wife on screen in maybe ever. Because Cicely Tyson's character, Rebecca,
that's right,
is a devoted mother. She is a fully formed wife, loving wife. She is a black woman who takes no mess, cuts no corners, hardworking, diligent, beautiful, strong, thriving, and magnificently portrayed on screen by Cicely Tyson. There's a homecoming scene, a famous homecoming scene of the father, where Cicely Tyson runs from the house to Paul Winfield limping his way up the road. And I can imagine there was not a dry eye in the audience when that scene hits the screen, nor should anybody be sitting in their seats.
Right.
Because you should be just standing up and clapping. And it is such a triumphant, beautiful moment in this film. I found myself completely mesmerized by this movie. Martin Ritt, who is a director of profound note, he crafts a movie that puts you right in that time.
Yeah.
I felt so much that I felt in that time without it being oppressive. It just felt like I was just transported back to that time, you know, to the Depression down south. And as much as the racism is there, it's not over the top. It's not people just, you know, like N-word here and would get out of my face, you know, all this stuff. Like, the white characters in this film are not shown to be monsters. They're shown to be racist, but they're not shown to be monsters. And I think in doing so, that just helps again with the authenticity of this film and the moment in which it's presenting and the story that it's presenting. It actually boggled my mind that this is based on a YA novel, because this is such a mature piece of work.
Yeah.
Right? And then for this film, as Kevin Hook's character, you know, he develops this relationship with a teacher, and it really is just strictly a relationship of him just wanting to learn, and wanting to learn more about himself, because in her classroom, like you see him in the classroom earlier where he's one of 3 black children in a classroom that's filled with white children.
Right.
And you hear through context of the film that, you know, the sheriff pulled some strings to get him into that class so that he could learn, and he's basically learning, you know, education a la colonizers.
Right.
But when he develops this relationship with this black teacher who is teaching a room full of black students and is teaching them, you know, teaching them, you know, giving them an education, but that is definitely from a black lens and a black point of view, stoked in blackness, coming from black voices. He realizes, oh, this is where I really want to be. Right. This is why I want to learn, and without it being any type of argument or anything like that, the parents are like, you know, well, then that's where you're going to be.
Right.
It's not this faux, like, you know, like, oh no, you can't go away from us or anything, you got to run away. No, it's just real. It's just 100% real, man. And the whole time I'm watching it, you know, for those who don't know, in the 70s, there was a TV show. It was a huge successful TV show called The Waltons. And it was basically about a white family coming up, like this huge white family that lived in around these same times. If I remember, they weren't in the South. They were kind of like maybe like Midwest.
I feel like you were Midwest, maybe.
Right. But it was a huge success. The Waltons ran for like about 10, 12 years on TV. I would have loved to see Sounder, the TV series.
Sure.
Never mind the sequel that is done in 1976 that we will not speak of.
We won't.
But that none of the main participants of this film had anything to do with it, which is why we won't speak of it. Mm-hmm. But I would have loved to see Sounder, the television series, because I just would have wanted to return to this family.
Yeah.
I just fell in love with this family. I fell in love with the dynamic. I fell in love that, you know, the mother and father, they were deeply in love.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
100% in love. They shared knowing glances with one another. You see them walking off arm in arm and in love with one another. The kids were, while there are two younger kids who aren't fully formed as characters in the movie, but you feel that they are there. They're integral. They don't lose sight of them in the movie.
No,
they're
no.
right there.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I just really watched this movie just thinking like, wow, I can see why this film in 2021 was elected to the Library of Congress as one of the most culturally, aesthetically relevant films of the 20th century. I can see why Cicely Tyson and Paul Winfield, in a smaller role, was still nominated for Best Actor. And her for Best Actress. I totally see why they were nominated. You could also totally see, ladies and gentlemen, if you only know Cicely Tyson from Tyler Perry movies, this is why Cicely Tyson is the Cicely Tyson.
Right.
This is the movie where she cracked the code and show y'all how to do it. And I can totally see why Sounder is a film that people keep returning to, because even though it is from 1972, even though it is set in the Depression, it is a film that wears very well, that you can watch even now in 2024 and be totally captivated and mesmerized by it. I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah. I think, I'll pick up where you ended about its relevance. I have to say, I always group this film with The Learning Tree.
Yes, you do.
And I forgot talking about this depiction of this family and just how it kind of unfolds in this real naturalistic manner, where frankly there isn't really a plot. Like, this is a film that, as you mentioned, Paul Winfield's character, Nathan Lee, steals food because his family is hungry. And then when he's arrested for it, everything just sort of disassembles.
Yeah, because there's no mystery.
There's no mystery. As you said, there's no... the racism is all systemic. No one is...
That's the good word.
No one... Like, there are no personalities.
Right.
That are, we very much... And speaking of it being relevant, like, you absolutely see the kind of dynamic of how poor people, and specifically poor Black people, were kind of funneled into this chain gang system to provide free labor, because it's all right there on screen. Like, there's no big statement about it, but it's clear that between the sharecropping and, again, these very limited choices, these poor people are funneled into this system. And then the characters just sort of operate in this setting.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, the direction, I love the direction of this film just for its sense of place. Filmed on location in Louisiana. And Martin Ritt very much utilizes this sort of rural setting.
The whole landscape.
The landscape.
Everything.
And you get these beautiful wide shots of these rolling fields and these trees and everything. But, I do have to say, while I agree with you about how good this film is, I do think 90%, like, this film is on the shoulders of these three performances.
Yeah.
Paul Winfield and Cicely Tyson put on an acting clinic for almost 2 hours with how actors can utilize their whole bodies. Because so much of what you see between Nathan Lee and Rebecca is on their faces.
Yeah.
and these knowing looks and these exchanges. We were talking about this earlier. This is one of, this is perhaps my favorite Cicely Tyson performance. And I'm a little biased because, I'm a big proponent of these Black women performances where they do everything. Where, I'm a mother and a wife and a this and a that. And I think the way this Rebecca is very subtly sexualized.
Very subtly. Yeah.
And as you said, this is a couple, but this is not a chaste couple. Like Nathan Lee and Rebecca desire each other. And it's not a 70s love scene but there are these wonderful moments when they're in each other's arms. Or there's a moment where Nathan Lee comes back after a year and he's been in prison. And they all eat dinner together. And then at the end of dinner, Rebecca says, "Well, kids, I think it's time for you to go to bed." And the two of them exchange a glance that is
all you need.
You know exactly what the subtext
what time it is
between these two. Cicely Tyson is this Rebecca is a wonderful mother. I love her relationship with Kevin Hooks' David Lee. And there's this love, there's this camaraderie. There's a moment of mischief when David Lee says, this teacher has said that she wants me to come and stay with her during the school year. And you see, again, it's all on her face, where Rebecca kind of does the math, realizes this is for the best, makes a decision all in the split second that David has to go. But then she has this little moment of mischief where she says, "Well, David, I don't know who's going to help me around here if you go."
Right.
And then, she breaks and says, "Of course you can go." But as good as as good as Cicely Tyson and Paul Winfield are, Kevin Hooks in his first role as a child is so good.
With those big soulful eyes.
These big soulful eyes. I think just his actual performance, I think his bearing, his presence in the, a lot of scenes at one point, actually at 2 points, Kevin Hooks has to go travel to see his father, but he's by himself. So there are extended sequences where it's just Kevin Hooks and this dog. Sounder. And Kevin Hooks does a wonderful job. So that, much like you, and I really enjoy this film, but I think today what I admired was this level of craft in the acting of these three actors and how they, again, in a film where there isn't a lot of plot, frankly, there's not a whole lot of dialogue.
No, there's a long patch, especially when you're with David Lee on his journey.
You realize that what you're really watching is this kind of character study between these three actors. And speaking of, just plot-wise, I thought it was such a kind of masterful move that when Nathan is arrested, you get this kind of shifting point of view where you come in and you think that it's all going to be from Kevin Hooks' character David's point of view. It's him, he's the kid, this is the dog. You kind of say, okay, well, there's going to be a rite of passage and this, that, and the other. But then when they split the family up, from scene to scene, everyone gets a moment to kind of, you see their perspective, back to Cicely Tyson, who now has to hold this whole thing together. She has these two wonderful moments where she's in the store and she's kind of, she's got to halfway eat the shit from the shopkeeper who's saying about David,
about their credit and all this
credit and this, that, and the other. But as you said, she bends, but she doesn't break.
Nope.
And then the moment where they actually bring in the crops because they have to handle the farming without David, Nathan Lee. And it's the same thing where you can see, as you said, the racism isn't personal, but it's absolutely systemic. And this woman has to, operate within this.
Yep.
And Cicely Tyson embodies this wonderfully. Paul Winfield's Nathan Lee, I always forget that when he comes back from jail, there's still almost a half hour of movie left.
I know.
So you get to see the toll that this is taken on him. Like, this isn't he runs into her arms and then it's a happy ending and then the credits roll.
No.
It's like, no, there are repercussions.
Yeah, because he had hard labor for a year.
Right. And how the family dynamic has changed a little bit. And it's handled sensitively. It is not sensationalized. Like you absolutely get the sense that he's got to figure out how to fit into this new dynamic
now. Yeah. Especially considering because his body is letting him down.
But there is a level of subtlety and nuance to this film that, for it being a film made in the midst of blaxploitation, frankly,
there it is.
It shows a level of confidence and a level of belief in this material. And frankly, because it was a financial success,
yes,
I think it says more about the audience for black films in 1972 than they were given credit.
Yeah, because this film only had a budget of $1 million and then went on to earn $17 million.
Yeah.
Which in 1972, ladies and gentlemen, is a very good number, a great number for this smaller film. And when you consider that was only $1 million to cost, that's 17. You are happy.
I was about to say, in 2020, if you hand me, if I hand you $1 million and you hand me back $17 million,
we all win.
Right. Somewhere Tyler Perry is crying a thug tear.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So this was movie was a huge success, especially like you pointed out that it's a bit of counter programming the films that are really hitting the theaters at this time.
Oh,
in
yeah,
1972.
72.
And this is when they're hitting it hard. People are like, oh my, they're running to the theater for Shaft and all these other films. But this film is making its mark, making itself be known. And I think it's because, one, it is the film that you could take the whole family to.
Yeah.
Other thing you got to remember, 1972, the movies was a night out.
Yeah.
It was you go out. It's Friday. Let's go to a movie. This is a movie that you can take the entire family to watch.
You would take the entire family to see any kind of movie you're going, but it's a movie you should take the entire family to.
And to be fair, in 1972, you could take the entire family to see this. This would be the first film.
Right.
And then there would be another film.
Next, we're going to watch The Exorcist.
I told you that story. I told you that story when my family took us to see Dumbo.
That's right.
And then it was The Exorcist.
The Exorcist. I saw Jaws.
We do it.
So it
happens. Yeah, this is just like an amazing piece of work, man. And to think that it one of the things I pointed, there was a line of dialogue that, oh my God. First of all, I couldn't find information about this.
Yeah.
I can't believe that this film was co-produced by Mattel, a toy company.
I did not know that.
Mattel Productions.
Does it say why?
I couldn't find information about why.
Or are they trying to dip their toe in the movies, maybe?
Was there a Sounder playset that I don't know about?
I hope so. No.
Now I want to look and see.
No, you want to see if there's what was the Sounder merchandising? We should probably say this, because I know people are wondering. The dog does get shot,
He does.
but
He does not die.
he does not die. I know many of us are scarred from Old Yeller.
Never saw Old Yeller.
Never saw Old Yeller.
No.
Old Yeller done.
Doesn't make it.
Yeah, done. Yeah.
Don't care.
Okay. Oh, it's real sad.
I'm sure it's not.
Oh, it's real sad.
Really?
It really is, because he's like, he protects the kid from, like, I think a bear or something. And then he gets rabies. Oh, my God. Why are you laughing at Old Yeller? What are you, a sociopath?
No, I thought you were going to say like he protects the kid from
No.
from the bear.
No.
And then but the bear he
Right.
dies
No,
in protecting the
no,
kid.
no,
No,
no.
he protects him and then he gets rabies.
Right, I think from the bear or the wolf or like something.
What, he got tag teamed?
Whatever it, you know what?
What? You said a bear and a wolf?
I don't know if it's a bear or a wolf or some kind of animal. Maybe it was a raccoon, but somehow Old Yeller
He
gets
died from
rabies.
a raccoon? A
He died-
raccoon took the dog out?
He gets rabies. And then the little boy
Got rabies too?
got to kill Old Yeller. Because, you know, when an animal gets rabies, it gets all crazy.
So you got to put him down.
Right.
Was Old Yellow foaming at the mouth?
I believe so. Now, in full disclosure, I think I've seen the Old Yeller once, and I was like a kid.
Are there any black people in Old Yellow?
There are not. We're not going to do Old Yeller. But when you see Sounder, you think, you know, like you know, little Kevin Hooks is going to have a rite of passage, and you
You're
know,
thinking of the
right. Today
Sounders.
I'm no longer a boy, I'm a man, and you're going to assume
as
that,
he buries his dog.
right,
But no.
right,
So Old Yellow got rabies?
yeah, oh
He died
yeah,
from rabies?
oh
And
yeah,
the boy had to kill him?
he
died from
a
a
bullet. That is terrible. Now you've got me doing it. Structurally, though, all jokes aside, that is kind of fascinating that David has this rite of passage into manhood, and there is no great tragedy.
There's no great tragedy. There's no like love interest, you know,
Right.
or anything like that. But
Like, you assume somebody's going to get lynched, somebody's going to die, you know, they're going to have to kill the dog. Like, something's going to happen that at the end, again, I'm no longer a boy, I'm a man.
see, but that's what makes this film as transformative as it is.
Yeah.
Especially in 1972, because there's none of that.
No.
Like you said, as far as like the plot, outside of him going to prison and you having to wait for him to get home, that's really the stakes in this film.
Yeah.
And as you see them, you know, learn to toil the land without him, there's not even a lot of drama in how they do that. It very much is just like, okay, well, Monday, we got to do this.
Right.
Cut to Tuesday, well, we got to do this again.
Well, the funny thing is, you know, not to pull at the strings, you know, I understand you have to make these moves to get the plot moving. Like, I got the sense that they really were destitute for him to go and steal this meat at the beginning.
Yeah,
But that's like the only moment in the film where you get the sense that there's some food insecurity. It's like the old adage.
Yeah.
You may not get what you want, but you'll get enough of what you have.
Yeah, see, because it's not, that's the one, I guess, like you said, yeah, it's a threat if you pull on it.
Right.
You know, there's not a lot of setting up of what leads him to leave in the middle of the night to steal essentially meat.
Right.
Because they've got food, but to put some protein on the plate. That's what the possum was going to be.
Right.
And then you maybe, you know, you extrapolate from that, like, okay, they chased this possum all over the entire South because this was like the last piece of meat
Right.
for miles. They had eaten
They had eaten everything else.
everything else.
Right.
And but you know, and apparently there was no creek with no fish.
You know what? I was thinking the exact. I was like, God damn, why don't you go fishing?
Because when he's chasing the possum, the whole time he's chasing Nathan Lee and David Lee are chasing the possum in the beginning of this film, he's got like this satchel across his body,
Right.
Nathan Lee, that looks like it is filled with stuff. So I'm thinking they're after the last catch of the day.
Right.
And he's got the other catches or maybe fish
Right.
in there. No, apparently he's got his Walkman. I don't know
Right.
what he's got in there.
Right.
You never learn. So that's not really set up as well as it could be.
But again, the performances are so strong.
Yeah. And
You don't even care.
And the story gives you enough.
Right. Right.
And you're there, and there's no mystery of it. It's like, we found this food that he stole, and he's like, yeah, well, they got me.
Well, yeah, they got you. They got a big ass ham in their hand. We went in your house, Nathan, and we got this ham. The ham that has my name. It's like
got my name.
It's like Mr. Jenkins smoked ham. It's like, wow, you're like, why'd you bring the ham in the house? Like, hide it over on the shed or something.
Well, see, what is not said is that he cut an eye at Rebecca, like, you were supposed to cook that this
You're
morning.
supposed to cook that this morning. We were supposed to eat the evidence.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking around with the sausage.
Yeah.
Supposed to cook the ham.
Yeah, the ham. Yeah. But it goes without saying.
Oh,
The question is, of course, would you recommend Sounder?
I would wholeheartedly recommend Sounder. I would recommend you to see Sounder. If you haven't watched Sounder, watch Sounder. If you haven't watched Sounder in a long time, watch it again. Introduce it to your family. Sit down with your family and watch Sounder. Introduce this to young people. This is one of those films that definitely should be introduced to young people because it is a window into a period of time, as well as just a beautiful family relationship on screen. And is also a member of Paul Winfield, an actor who, despite the nomination that he receives for his film, I don't think gets his just due as an actor.
I 100% agree.
Didn't get, for one reason or another, didn't get the opportunities that probably he should have. But so you can remember him. Cicely Tyson, she's out. Her name still rings out. But this is definitely an opportunity to return to one of her, if not her, greatest performance. And Kevin Hooks, another name who found his way to television mostly.
Yeah.
And then directing on the side.
Yeah.
But, definitely a name, if you are a fan of 70s movies and television, a name that a lot of people are familiar with, and this is where he gets his start. Sounder is definitely a movie I would recommend. You go see it, please.
I agree. I do think my a little bit of my disdain for these period pieces, these I call them the barefoot dirt road movies, is
not a lot of shoes in this movie.
Is because this film and The Learning Tree, like I think they did what they do so well, where I was from a very early age, like, well, I have what I need.
Yeah.
From
the two of them.
From these two films. This is all I need.
Yeah, because even if you wanted a little bit your drama, a little bit
more plot.
More plot.
Yeah.
Then you've got The Learning Tree.
Sure. Sure. But much like you, I think Paul Winfield has never gotten the level of acclaim that he should have. I feel like, frankly, he was eclipsed by James Earl Jones for a lot of his career.
And Lou Gossett comes up.
Lou Gossett's right there behind him. Cicely Tyson. I think for the legend of Cicely Tyson, frankly, if you look at her body of work, the examples of why we hold her to such high esteem are not as many as you would think.
I know.
And this is absolutely the number one example of why Cicely Tyson is Cicely Tyson. Much like you, a big fan of Kevin Hooks, and I actually like Kevin Hooks' young actor.
Yeah.
And this is a great example of it. And this is a film that, you know, much like Paul Winfield, I feel like has kind of gotten a little lost. I think when we talk about 70s films,
Oh, yeah.
we tend to go bombastic.
Yep.
But even when we do quote unquote counter programming with 70s films,
It's still bombastic.
we talk about Claudine, we talk about
The Cosby Portier movies.
the Cosby Portier movie, we talk about Sparkle to a certain extent.
And even then,
since
when we
the
go
remake.
family, because the problem is that when we go 70s, we either go bombastic or we go urban. Because even when we talk about family, we go to Five on the Black Hand Side.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah. And frankly, I think when we go these sort of rural period pieces, even in that very specific subsection, the Learning Tree eclipses this.
Yeah, and I think that's just because of the drama of the learning.
Sure.
It's more dramatic, more
Right.
melodramatic.
It's more going on.
Yeah.
It's just actually more happening in the Learning Tree. So
This is a quieter movie.
So I do think this is a film that many people have heard of, perhaps, but haven't actually watched. And I very much recommend this film.
Most definitely. But don't take our word for it, ladies and gentlemen. Go and check it out. Sounder. The Dog Lives.
The dog lives. The dog lives. Which, you know, all jokes aside, I feel like that may have kept a few people from it. Like, I'm not trying to watch no dog die. And when you look at the trailer and when you look at the poster, I mean, you said it yourself. You said it yourself. When you saw that the name of the film was Sounder and that Sounder was the dog, you was like, oh my goodness.
I've seen this movie.
Oh my goodness.
That is very true.
I hope that dog didn't put down no deposit on no house thinking that he's going to make money off of the sequels. They're going to keep making it sound like they made the Thin Man movies. And like the Thin Man's only in the first one.
Well, that's not true. Oh, well, yeah. That's right, because the Thin Man is technically actually...
Why do I have to tell you this? You know this.
Well, I had to remember.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting out of my Thin Man bag. I was about to go in on the Thin Man.
I mean, it's true, right? The Thin Man
No, it is
the
true.
mystery in the first
He's the mystery in the first one,
movie.
and then he more or less becomes the detective, even though he's not ever called the Thin Man. But you more or less see that.
I thought it was just Nick and Nora.
No, it is Nick and Nora Charles.
You know,
For the rest of
mysteries and
it is. But the reason why they are still called the Thin Man is because the films, when they come on, it's always like a cartoonish figure.
Yeah.
And that cartoonish figure after the first one, as you see the way he's stylized, he's more or less stylized as Nick is in the movie.
So Nick becomes a Thin Man.
More or less the Thin Man, even though he's never called the Thin Man. So that's what
It's like Doctor Who.
What do you mean, like Doctor?
Like no one ever calls Doctor Who Doctor Who.
Oh,
He's the doctor.
they don't. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Not a Doctor Who guy?
Not really. No. I've tried.
You don't have to hesitate. It's a taste.
Yeah, I can't.
It's a taste.
Can't get there.
Yeah, it's a taste.
I can't get there. No. I like Jagged Edge though.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. Who's better, Jagged Edge or Doctor Who?
Next week on the Micheaux Mission, I'll tell you what we're going to be watching in just a minute. But before we do, if you're in the Philadelphia area, ladies and gentlemen, and you like seeing me and Vince talk about movies, where do you hear us talk about sex? That's right. This Friday, here in Philadelphia at Comedy Sports Philly, Vincent and I, the Micheaux Mission, will be the guests on the DTF Fun Hour. Daryl and Tim Marie Fun Hour, the liveliest, funnest sex chat game show ever. And Vincent and I will be right there this Friday. Comedy Sports Philly. Look it up on the internet. Tickets on sale right now. We're going to be live in person. We're going to get it on. Yeah. I got my red shirt ready.
You always with the costumes and the dressing. You always...
I just had a red shirt.
All right.
Are you going to wear a red shirt?
No.
Probably
not. No. You know that is my line in the sand with everything.
I know.
Trekkie,
Yes.
comic fan,
Yes.
whatever. I go Dungeons and Dragons role-playing games. I'll go all the way to the point where someone says, we should dress up and do fill in the blank. And I said, this is my stop.
Yes.
Let me pull the chain. Ching, ching.
How about we...
Used to play Dungeons and Dragons, then you Dungeons and Dragons, and then the white boys want to go in the woods and dress up. No, I'm good.
Well, the second they said go in the woods, it was a wrap.
I mean, what's the difference between going in the woods and putting that ass on your head and say I'm a Klingon, and then you go see the movies in the movies, or you put on, Captain IP Man, and you put on the outfit and you go to Comic-Con, and like people dress up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my thing.
It's not your thing.
I just this is my stop.
I understand. Let's try this one, though, ladies and gentlemen. Because also next week, next Wednesday, the Micheaux Mission will be presenting the inaugural Be Real Micheaux screening series film Pariah at Bryn Mawr Film Institute, Wednesday, March 20th, in partnership with the Be Real Black Cinema Club, our good friend Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie. And Bryn Mawr Film Institute, presented by the League of Historic American Historic Theaters.
Yes.
The Micheaux Mission will be presenting a screening of Pariah, one of my favorite films of all time, as well as hosting a talkback afterwards. We're going to have free pretzels for everyone.
Yes.
We're going to have giveaways for everyone. And Vincent promised, not me, but Stephanie, that we would go to the event in black to make it an evening out.
Yes.
You did agree to that.
Look, I got all kinds of black clothes.
Vincent, it's an evening out. We agreed to be dressed.
Oh, for Christ.
We agreed to be dressed,
Right.
a little, nice. No khakis, Vincent.
I mean,
No, I know. No khakis.
Look, I'll be there. You have to come out and see.
Tickets are on sale now at brynmarfilm.org. Pariah. The Be Real Micheaux screening series. And you have to come, ladies and gentlemen, because if you're not there, you won't be able to vote on the next film in the series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Want to make your vote count? You got to show up.
Yeah.
Okay? All right.
It'll be a good time.
Yes, it will. If you want to email Vincent and I and let us know what is on your mind, email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That is MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. You can also find the Micheaux Mission on the social media of your choice, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at Micheaux Mission. You can also find us where you're watching us right now on YouTube at Micheaux Mission, where you can hit the bell, subscribe, so you're notified when we have new videos going up, and we can build up our subscribers, because the more subscribers we build, the better we do in the algorithms, and the more people find our show, and the more people find our show, the more successful we will be. Even though we like where we are right now. Tell you the truth, we kind of like it.
But we coming for you, number 22.
We're coming for you. 22. We won't have to just choose somebody from the list every week that we're coming for. We're coming for 22. All right?
All right.
The Micheaux Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcast works such as ours, which is filmed every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. here at Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace in Manayunk. And if you want to book your time in one of the fabulous studios here in Young Junk, email our man Dylan. He's over there now. Our man Dylan at youngjunk.com. That's DYLAN at youngjunk.com. All right.
All right.
Next week here on the Micheaux Mission, ladies and gentlemen, it's Vincent's turn.
It is.
And he already kind of told you what we're going to be watching.
I did.
And it is a movie that is near and dear to both our hearts.
It is.
Because we enjoy it. And not just for the Billy Crystal of it all, but primarily because of the Gregory Hines of it all.
Yeah.
It is the 80s fun-filled cop action comedy, Running Scared.
Running Scared.
Next week here on the Micheaux Mission. Until then, he's Vincent, I'm Len, and in parting, we say,
We'll see you when it's time to meet again.